Welcome to the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. If you are a business owner who wants to consistently create content that connects and converts into clients, this is the podcast for you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's get right into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode on the Creative Content Club podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to create less content and sell more. But before I kick off with today's podcast episode, I wanted to talk to you about something that I've got really exciting coming up in November. I am going to be launching my brand new mastermind in beta, and I am looking for around 12 people to join. This is going to be the mastermind that takes your content to the next level. And what I mean by that is not only are you going to get tools and resources that helps make content creation much easier for you, but you're going to get one-to-ones with me. You're going to get content plans bespoke to your business, and we're going to really be identifying exactly who those ideal clients are, where to find them, and where you need to get the visibility so you really start working smarter, not harder. A lot about what I'm talking about here today. If you are interested in joining this beta round, and as it's in beta, obviously there's going to be a big discount for joining. Just drop me an email or DM me on any of my channels, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, with the word mastermind, and I will put you on the wait list to be the first to know. Okay, let's crack on with today's episode on how to create less content and sell more. If you're a regular listener of this podcast, you will know that I've said this before, that content should be boring. I'm so sorry, but it is true. It doesn't mean you can't have fun with it, but it should be boring. You should be saying the same things day in and day out, because that's what your ideal client will remember. That's what will make you become the expert. That will be what gets you the most visibility, is saying the same things over and over and over again. It's called brand recognition. And this is what's going to really start to build your business. It can be really overwhelming thinking how much content you need to create and how much volume the world needs to see for you to get visibility, right? It feels like that. But you don't need to create loads of it. You just need to say the same thing over and over again. Now, I am one of those people that believes more is more. Like, give me more chocolate. Like, no, there's no such thing as less is more in my view, particularly when it comes to food. However, in the world of content and visibility, less is definitely more. Less is going to get you the results. And it's definitely what's going to help you here. Now, you'll know that throughout this podcast, for instance, I probably say the word content at least 50 times. Like, I will say it over and over again. How to create content that converts into clients and sales, how to get consistency, how to understand exactly what attracts the right people to your business by telling the stories. I say all of this stuff over and over and over and over again. Do I get sick of it? Sometimes I do, but I know it's what can get people results, and that's what drives me to do it. So I say the same thing over and over again, even on those days when it feels like I am talking to no one, like I am filling the void with hot air, but actually it's the consistency that pays off. So let's get into exactly how you can create less and sell more. And I've already said it. The first thing is consistency beats being constant. And you can see probably some of the people you follow, even myself. I am on Instagram stories every single day. It's very rare that there won't be a day without a story on there, because I show up every single day. But I don't have time to be present every single day. I don't have the brain power to do that every single day. I don't have the capacity. I'm a CEO of my business. I have to be strategic. And yes, I am nowhere near perfect. It all goes to pot sometimes, and I am literally flying by the seat of my pants some week, because it's just the way it sometimes goes, right? I am not perfect by any means when it comes to that. Your audience wants consistency, not constantly. They're not going to see you being constant. They would rather see you showing up regularly as they would expect, and know that you're going to be reliable, because otherwise you're just creating all sorts of content to get out there. So I've talked about my weekly schedule before, but let me run through it again. If this is your first time on this podcast listening, welcome. It's lovely to have you here. In case you hear like a jingle, it's either going to be my cat or my dog. My dog is my desk partner today. She is most days. But if you hear her, I'm very sorry. We've got tractors going up and down my village today. So she's keeping full of mangel wurzels, which are these weird potato things. It's for cattle. Anyway, I'm not going to waffle on about my farm lifestyle in the middle of the country. So here goes my weekly schedule, right? So my emails, right, they go out regularly, Tuesday, Thursdays, and I sometimes will do a Friday one if I've got capacity. It's my nice to have, not essential. And that will be more of a storytelling one on Friday. My podcast goes live. This podcast goes live every single Tuesday. It might not always go out at the same time every Tuesday, but it goes out every single Tuesday. My social posts, they have a repeatable structure. Yes, some weeks it's slightly different, but I have a spreadsheet and it's literally copy and paste every week. My blog goes out at the weekends and that will be the basis of my content. And I send that version in an email into a LinkedIn newsletter. It's a rhythm. It's something I can cling to. As humans, we like routine, we like consistency, and we like to know what we've got planned. Otherwise, our brains get overloaded, and that's so easy to do this to. That's the rhythm I do every week. It keeps me visible. It keeps me front of mind. But not only that, it gives me the capacity to start pushing my visibility in other directions, seeing where there are opportunities. It gives me the capacity to go and do things like speaking, go to events, go and do masterclasses, guest podcasts, PR, all of those things, which if I'm having to think about this every single day, I can't do that. So consistency beats being constant. Point number 2, guess what? Repetition sells. Yes, we worry about pissing people off if we keep saying the same thing, banging on about our offer, sending the DMs that have already gone out into an email, into a social post. I see this every single launch I do. And on my last launch, it was no different. So the last launch I did was my course, as some of you would have seen. And I was sick of talking about it. I was so fed up. I've recently gone through a launch with a client who has said the same thing. And I'm like, brilliant, that's exactly where you need to be. Are you bored of talking about it? Yep, cool, keep going. That's what we want. It was mind numbing saying the same things in different ways over and over again, or same things in the same ways over and over again. Here's the kicker in all of this. When I did the personal outreach, because personal outreach works really well for me, and I'm not comfortable doing it, but I know it's important because people still hadn't seen that I was launching a course. They had no idea I'd launched it. Even if they'd been in the challenge, even if they'd seen them, got signed up for the masterclass, they hadn't even anticipated that there was going to be a doors close on it. So they might have seen it, but had no idea about the details because I am the only one who knew it inside out. People see a glimpse of that. So if you think you are going to annoy people by sending an email every day, which I did for about 2 weeks, you're not. People are going to filter out the information, and that repetition is what is going to build that trust. It's going to get you in front of the people because they'll start to take note. We won't get it instantly. Watch your own behaviours. I always say this. But what point do you start to take notice of something before you start to go, what is this? I keep seeing this everywhere. How many times have you said that? I keep seeing this everywhere. What is this? And then you'll start to work out how it fits into your life or if it does at all. So that is the real crux of it. Repetition is the way forward. That's why content is boring, because we say the same thing over and over again. Like, go look at my socials. Like, I say the word content at least 100 times a day, right? Every day, for sure. Like I've already said it. I probably already said it almost 50 times in this podcast. But go have a look at any of the bigger people that you follow, people that you look up to, people that you respect. Like, I'm a big fan of Denise Duffield-Thomas, who's a money mindset expert. Alex and Layla Hormozy, they're amazing at what they do at acquisition.com. Go and have a look at the consistency and the repetition they do. Like, Denise is the queen of repetition. She is the absolute goddess of chill and prosper. Lazy business attitudes, make it easy. She bulk she or her team now just does a load of bulk posts and leave them to run. She doesn't show up every day because she doesn't have the capacity to. You are the CEO of your business. You shouldn't be doing this every day. This isn't something you should be doing every day. It's something you should be doing in a strategic way because you need to focus on the business growth. So put a model in that works for you. So that is what leads me on to the third point. Repurpose and reuse everything. It's not post once and then never use again. You will see, go look at my Instagram. I always say this, have a look at my Instagram and see how many of the same images I've used over and over again, how much of the same things I've said over and over again. And guess what? I go through and I look at what's working and what's not. If you're in the Creative Content Club, we do this. We go and have a look at what is doing well. And if it's a post where I go, why didn't that work? Because it should have done. I then look at it and think, oh, because I was jargony there. People don't get it. They don't see why it's relevant to them. I've gone into marketing spiel. I start to understand the reasons why it didn't perform so well and why it didn't. And then I think, well, actually, if this isn't working and I think it should, what do I need to change? So my LinkedIn strategy has completely changed because I've been watching and learning and reusing and repurposing, making that consistency dead easy. I mean, it simplifies everything. People do this all the time. Like, make it easy for yourself. You're making it hard by making content all of the time. Like, this podcast is a variation on the same things of everything to do with content that converts into sales, right? You might be bored of it by now. I hope you're not. If you are, tell me what would be interesting to you, and I will make sure it's part of this podcast episode or future podcast episodes. But I'm saying the same thing. I know this stuff inside out and I can talk about it all day long. I'll get bored of it, but I can talk about it all day long. I am the expert in what I do in this field. I wouldn't know what you do in the same level as I know what I do. So I repurpose and reuse it so it makes my life quicker and easier. I have to think like a CEO. I have to act like a CEO. And that is how we start to do that. It's being smart, not lazy. I am a massive, massive fan of templates and a dead simple structure. Like, if I say you only need to have, so if you've got your content themes, right, have your content themes. So say you've got 3 to 5 content themes, and then you just need to create a weekly, pick one of those content themes each week and talk about one element of it for an entire year. When you start to work it out like that, you don't need so much. You need 4 topics each quarter for each content theme, right? So if you've got 3 content themes, and these are the core things, the core pillars that you talk about, and you talked about 4 different things underneath of those each quarter. And then guess what? You can repeat them in the next quarter. That is how simple it can be. So creating a simple structure that is reusable, repeatable is such a time saver and an easy resource. And also it means that you don't have to think, what am I posting today? Because you'll know that like Wednesdays my LinkedIn newsletter goes out, right? I know that happens every Wednesday. I don't need to think about it. It goes into autopilot. It just gets done because I know what I'm doing. I don't need to have a complicated schedule. If I'm on a launch, yes, it will be different. I will have different content going out at different times. When I am creating what I call the everyday evergreen content, the stuff that is your business bread and butter, the stuff that you do when you're not mid-launch, because you can't launch all the time. It would take up too much energy. Then I have that structure to fall back on. And even when I'm launching, my launch gets integrated into that structure. So it keeps that familiarity with other stuff to elevate it, take it up to that next level. And again, Instagram, go have a look at my Instagram and see that most of my content is templated. It's all on templates. It all follows a similar format. It's being smart because that's what people then can see. They start to see and recognize my brand identity. They start to know the kind of content I'm going to be putting out there. They start to realize when they're scrolling, oh, that's Naomi. That's what she's talking about. She's a content person. They start to see the brand, who I am, what I do, and know me as the expert. And if that's something that you need. If my ideal clients, if you're listening to this podcast, might well be my ideal client. When you start to realize that this is stuff you want to hear and see, when you see my posts, you'll know that you can trust them. You'll know that I'll have something that you want to hear about. That consistency by using those templates. Yeah, okay, I'd use different formats. I'll do things in different ways for different channels. So LinkedIn, I don't always do the same as I'll put on Instagram because it wouldn't work. I've tried doing exactly the same across various different social medias and emails and blogs and all that sort of thing. And it doesn't work. So I just adjust it slightly. But I've already got the frame, the templates there. So it's drag and drop. They get tweaks. They get tweaked over time. Of course they do, because you evolve, your ideal clients evolve, and you want to evolve that brand. Branding shouldn't stay still. And branding is so much more than a logo. I could talk to you all day about branding, but it's how you make people feel. It's the language you use. It's so much deeper than that. It's how people recognize you from not just your logo. Like, most people won't even recognize my logo. I don't care about that so much as I do about how I make people feel. That is exactly what will help you get more sales by creating less. So be consistent, not constant. You don't have to post on socials every single day. You don't have to send an email every single day. But if you're going to do one thing, pick the channel where your ideal clients are going to be. So that could be on Facebook. It could be not even on social media. It could be local communities, and be the most visible person in that space. Be there all the time and build that network. Get them back into your world. Get them into an email list, somewhere that you can really nurture them. That works for them and the way they consume. Email might not be their thing. They might ignore email. It might be that they need to do something else. But what I mean is, be consistent in that space and be really visible there. Repeat. Repetition sells. Even when you're bored of it, I want you to be bored. That is the aim of content. It doesn't mean you can't be creative, but just be bored, if that makes sense. Repurpose and reuse everything, because let's make life easy and create those templates and a simple structure. Creating less doesn't mean caring less. It actually means getting more visibility. And it means you'll sell more, because that repetition will start to get into people's conscious rather than subconscious minds. And that's what we're trying to do. And your ideal clients will know to go to you for that. You'll become the go-to expert because they keep on seeing it. They will start to think, I need this. How many times do you resist something like, okay, I'm going to bang on about the air fryer. You know, air fryers have been knocking about for a while, and I have been really stubborn of like, I'm old school. I don't need an air fryer. I don't want an air fryer. And guess what? I now own an air fryer because people keep going on about how good they are. I'm not going to, it's been a couple of weeks now. I'm still on the fence. I'm not going to lie. But that's what we want to do. It's not about being icky with our sales. It's about building that consistency so you become known as the person to go to, as the expert in your field and industry. I hope today's podcast episode has been helpful. Remember, if you do want to be on that wait list to join my mastermind, just drop me a DM or email me at info@naomicrose.co, not .com, not .co.uk, just .co, with the word mastermind, and I will get you on the list to be first to know when those details launch. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll be back again next week with another episode. Thank you for listening to the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this podcast a review. If this episode gave you clarity or sparked a new idea, I'd really appreciate it if you could share it with someone else who would find it useful. If you haven't already, give me a follow on Instagram and come and connect with me on LinkedIn. And finally, don't forget to check out the show notes to take my quiz to find out exactly why your content isn't converting into clients. Thanks again for listening, and I'll be back again next week with another episode.